engineering discipline.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the info session for InnoVenture, EG1603. We have with us Professor Virginia Cha, who is the program lead for InnoVenture this coming semester. She has some exciting plans and projects for you guys, so she will start sharing. This session is being recorded, so because there are quite a few students who are unable to make it, and we'll be sending them the link to this recording. Thanks. Make sure you have questions ready to get started on the Q&A right after Virginia ends. Thanks, everyone.
Okay. Thanks, Rose, and thanks, Prof. Han, for giving me the opportunity to share with you my design for this course. I'm Virginia Cha, Professor Virginia Cha. You can see my sort of a synopsis of my CV. I do many things, but 100% of my time is around entrepreneurship, technology entrepreneurship. I spend much of my professional hours being an educator, teaching at NUS Business School. I have an adjunct professor appointment there, in addition to INSEAD. I also teach for SMART, which is the Singapore MIT Alliance for Research and Technology. So I specialize in technology entrepreneurship. The other parts of my time that I spend a lot on is mentoring startups. I really enjoy the mentoring experience, learning from startups and what they do. I've been an angel investor. I have 16 companies in my investment portfolio. Recently, I decided to be a venture partner to iGlobe Platinum Fund, so I'm a limited partner now. And I also make contributions in terms of research and contributing book chapters, and have published several book chapters on entrepreneurship. But really, we're here. I'm going to spend about 15 minutes and talk about the pedagogical design of this course, and sort of give you a sense of what you will experience, what you will learn. And then I'll open it up for Q&A. I think it's more important that you get your questions answered and sort of find out if this class is the right learning journey and experience for you. And you're probably wondering, can you actually teach innovation entrepreneurship, right? Aren't you sort of born with this, being innovative or entrepreneurial? And so, a lot of people always challenge me with that. And I wanted to always, because we're in engineering, and so we need to show scientific evidence. So I wanted to share this with you. Actually, there's been a very robust scientific study on the effects of what we call personal initiative training on entrepreneurial performance. And this is important because we also want to emphasize leadership development in this class. So there's been a scientific study on personal initiative. What does that mean? Having a proactive mindset that includes being persistent, having self-starting behavior, being future-oriented. And what does that do when you have additional sort of training in this area? Does it change your performance? Of course, it will change your mindset, but more importantly, even if it changes your mindset, does it make a difference in the performance of the venture that you're a part of? All right. So I wanted to just make a quick distinction: the difference between mindset and traits, which is your personality, and sort of contextual states, the situation state you're in. So mindset is somewhere between the two. It is not as persistent as your personality trait, but it is a certain motivational tuning. Okay, and so what we're focused on in this class is training in the sense of not only your skills, but also in terms of adopting a mindset. Now, in this particular scientific study, which I will cite to you later, where you find the source of this information, so it's a very interesting study. What they did was they took 1,500 entrepreneurs in Togo, West Africa, and they randomized them into 3 different groups, kind of like a clinical trial, right? You randomize them into 3 different groups. You have the group that has the blue pill, the group that has the orange pill, and then you have the group that does the placebo. And then you measure them 2 years later to see if they have any effect. So one randomized group of 500, you see the sort of the traditional business training, sort of your typical MBA style classes. Then you have another group that received the personal initiative training, which you can see is about how to be a self-starter, how to identify innovative opportunities, looking for unusual sources of information, looking for feedback from different people to really calibrate your judgment, how to do action planning, flexible planning, bootstrapping, so forth and so on, and also about getting feedback and overcoming barriers, building up resilience. So 500 randomized entrepreneurs where we received the personal initiative training, and then the final 500 randomized receive no training, so placebo, nothing, okay? So it's very interesting. This study was actually published not that long ago, but 2 years ago, in Science magazine, which is a journal, which is a very prestigious journal. They don't normally publish articles or research from social sciences, which management is part of. But this one was so robust, they actually published in the Science journal. So these are the 3 different groups that was randomized. And very interesting, and these were the results. Those who received the personal initiative training, on average, logged a 17% monthly sales increase and 30% monthly profit increase compared to the group that received no training, okay? And those who received business training had no statistical significance in the impact of their performance versus those who received no training. So this is a scientific study that is very robust, can be generalized, and shows that personal initiative training, which is training about mindset and leadership skills in entrepreneurship, makes a performance difference, okay? And so this is the some of the cited materials for this, and it's quite robust. And I wanted to then kind of share with you, based on this, let's talk about, learning philosophy, right? There's basically 2 theories of learning. You can have students who should be sponges and sit in a classroom, and then we open them up and stuff in knowledge, okay? Or we can say, perhaps another way for knowledge to be developed is to construct it yourself through experience, through insight, through reflection, okay? So what I'd like to do is to share with you the way I would like to see how we learn from entrepreneurship. And I want to say this, I've been an entrepreneur myself. I became an entrepreneur, so many years ago, likely before many of you were born. I became an entrepreneur right here in Singapore in 1997, all right? And so I went through the whole entrepreneurship experience, and it was very intense. And you deal with a lot of messy data, and I want to talk about this a little bit. A lot of messy data. A lot of people give you, everybody has an opinion about what you should do as an entrepreneur, okay? You're going to get advice from everybody, uncles, aunties, your grandmother, everybody, okay? And so the problem is you're going to have to separate all this messy data, noise, and signals. And how do you do that? And so this is a process of what we call experiential learning. And it requires you to have the ability to do reflection, observation, and to have frameworks in a very robust way that you can update. So I wanted to sort of borrow from Clayton Christensen, the late Clayton Christensen, who was a Harvard professor. He has a whole model of how we build management theories about the phenomenon we see in life, including entrepreneurships and new businesses. And basically the idea is you have a hypothesis, you have a theory of the future, and your theory, if it's proved correctly, then you should, when you go out and talk to customers, they should confirm that and say, yes, I want that particular interesting engineering marvel that you've thought of, okay? And so that's kind of deductive logic, and through that observation, you might also have a more refined categorization, what features you need, what do you need to build, and so forth. And out of that, you might actually develop even better hypothesis, okay? And that's called inductive reasoning, okay? So these are the things that we will be going through and experience. So I'm not gonna go teach, logic, but what you're gonna actually do is actually to practice this kind of logic, which is deductive logic, developing a hypothesis, testable hypothesis around your theory of the future of the problem statements, okay? Then you're gonna go out and test this, and based on the sample, which is limited, mind you, you're gonna do a version of what we call abductive reasoning, which is be able to generalize from a small sample size, okay, and making inferences from it. And that is exactly what you'll be doing on an abstract level. But most importantly, you'll be actually doing this in a very concrete way with frameworks and tools. All right. So this is the lesson plan, and it is published on the website. You can go and take a look at it. We'll have 12 formal lessons plus a demo day, so to speak, at the end. All right, and it's going to be weekly on Wednesdays. We're going to spend some time getting to know yourself. We're going to have some psychometric studies about yourself, personality traits, so forth and so on. And you're going to be forming a team. And you're going to be given a problem statement. We have 5 or 6 problem statements that we source from startup companies and engineering companies that basically has an element of uncertainty. It has an element of innovation, uncertainty, and you are to design the solution and explore whether or not there's a market demand for the solution. So we're going to take you through, in every lecture, a framework of how you take a problem statement, take it into a value proposition design, go and develop testable hypotheses, go and do customer discovery. We're going to do a lot of market research analysis. You're going to have to understand how to do industry analysis. And the high point of all these sessions is that there's feedback session in every session, meaning it isn't just me standing up here lecturing and then you turn in a work 3 months later, then may or may not get feedback on this, okay? That's not how I teach. I like to teach it in such a way that every week you play back to me what you think you learned as you apply it to the project, and then I'll give you feedback. And then through that iteration, you kind of calibrate the sense making. You know, are you doing the right thing? Do you need to do deeper research along this area, pursue something, or pivot? Okay, so you're going to be getting weekly feedback from me. And also, you will have an opportunity to engage with your problem statement sponsors. These are startup CEOs who will work with you to help you understand and refine your ideas. And we're going to also try to understand how to do a landing page design. How do you look at Google Analytics, do quantitative validation? Then you're going to do a site visit with the problem owners and really share with them your midpoint, what you've done with the problem statement in terms of designing a solution and the validation. And only after we've done all the sort of understanding of the problems and initial validation do we then design a business model. We're going to do some market sizing, understand some fundamentals of business analytics. Then I'm going to give you a lot of presentation skills training. How do you develop strategic narrative to pitch to investor? And you're going to put this whole thing together in terms of, do you have, product market fit? What are your insights? Help you with your final presentation, and then lead you to the final presentation day. This is a subset of some of the problem statements. They are all engineering related. Even the company called Hook Coffee, actually it's a product development that requires engineering as well. There's also a company called Key Peel, which is a smart door lock company. There's a deep tech company called Lethicon. It came out of A-Star. It's on radiant cooling technology. There's one on IoT, automation and high precision workforce. There's AI in construction and IoT. So these are all engineering related topics, all startups or new ventures. We're also looking at working with some more established technology companies to also get some of their problem statements in front of you. So you will be matched to one of the projects with a team and be working on proposing a solution for them and testing it. What you can expect in terms of learning outcome would be learning how to translate a problem statement. So as engineering students, you're often given a problem statement and go and tinker and build a solution. Well, we're going to have an interim step here, which is taking these problem statements and how to develop testable hypotheses. And we're going to go out there and do interviews, taking messy data and then develop a prototype, all right, or designing a paper prototype, okay? You're going to learn some market research techniques, industry analysis, you know, depending on the scope of your project and the project team you're assigned to, you may do a prototyping or landing page or doing some quantitative survey techniques, depending on the scope, okay? Most importantly, you'll learn how to take all this messy data, all the interviews and all the structured data from your secondary research and put them together in actionable insights. And then you're going to learn how to pitch that, all right? So that's essentially the main learning outcomes. I think I'll pause here and let you sort of ask me questions